Hello and welcome to Everyday Lessons Every Day. I'm David McBee. Based on my book by the same name, this podcast is for those of us who believe in personal growth and want to improve every day. This is episode 20, a shout out to the School of Greatness. I've been listening to a lot of Lewis Howes' The School of Greatness podcast. I know he's been around for a while with one of the most popular and respected podcasts in the self-improvement genre, but believe it or not, I really didn't discover him until I had been on my own personal growth journey for over a year. I was excited to find his podcast, as it has similar goals as mine, to provide some of the best self-improvement and personal growth lessons to his listeners. And of course, he interviews the actual authors. Meanwhile, I read their stuff and share my personal experiences with the lessons. His episodes are an hour, mine are around 10 minutes. He finishes every episode with "do something great," and I end every episode with "do something awesome." Which, for the record, if you're listening, Lewis, I promise I was saying long before discovering your body of work. I think maybe you're my brother from another mother. I hope it doesn't sound arrogant to say that. It's just that we have such similar goals. We're both using our podcasts to provide those nuggets of insight to our listeners, especially listeners who don't have time to read those 10-hour books. I can't say enough about the School of Greatness. I've gotten so much out of every episode I've listened to, and I often recommend and share the episodes with friends. In fact, the School of Greatness has had this huge impact not only on me, but also on my son Tanner. Let's back up a little so I can give you some background. Tanner really struggled finding his way after high school. He went to college for a single semester, thinking he wanted to be a teacher. But only weeks into the semester, he decided it wasn't a good fit. After going back and forth over the decision, he finally called me in December and said he wanted to quit school. I was disappointed, but not in the way that you might think. I wasn't disappointed in him, but rather for him. He wouldn't get to experience college in the way that I did. I loved school and developed some of the most important friendships of my life there. I wanted that for him too, but realized I couldn't make something that worked for me work for him. More importantly, I couldn't define his path to success for him. I knew that he had to make that choice. Then he went to culinary school for a year. He took cooking classes, which he liked, and he worked as an apprentice in a kitchen, which he also liked, until the monotony of the daily grind kicked in. Meanwhile, he struggled with any class that wasn't about cooking. History, English, math, forget it. He barely even tried. Now, this frustrated me too, because I knew he was smart enough to do well in these classes. When he worked at the ecology lodge at the summer camp, he could tell you every single detail about the birds and reptiles of the Midwest. But if he's not inspired, he just doesn't apply himself. I guess that's true of most of us. When Tanner decided he wanted to leave school completely, I made him a deal. He could live at home as long as he did 3 things. 1, he had to get a full-time job. He was an adult now, and I wanted him to have adult responsibilities and a sense of purpose every day. I wasn't going to support him while he hung out in the basement playing Xbox and eating Doritos. 2, he had to pay some bills. We settled on a fair amount for rent, and he pays for his own car, including the car payment, the insurance, and the gas. I felt this was important because it would give him a sense of pride, and that has turned out to really be true. More on that in just a second. 3, I asked him to read or listen to self-improvement books or podcasts every day. This last request has turned out to be the biggest difference maker in my young son's life. Tanner probably spends more time listening to podcasts and Audible books than just about anyone his age. You see, that full-time job he got is as a landscaper. That means he's spending 8 to 10 hours a day mowing, weeding, mulching, driving, all activities that can be done while listening to a book or podcast. Looking at the time investment alone, he probably gets as many hours of education as most full-time college students, maybe more. So what's happened since we made this agreement? So many good things, so many. First of all, he's making money. Enough, in fact, that he bought himself a Corvette. Shut up. Are you kidding me? I always wanted a Corvette, and here he is cruising down the road in his, wait, I forgot to mention, convertible Corvette. And before you ask, yes, he took a loan to pay for it. Fans of Dave Ramsey, I know you're scolding me right now, but hold that thought. He got a 36-month loan on a 15-year-old Corvette, and he's paying 3 times the required payment, and he'll have it paid off by Christmas of this year. He was recently featured in a social media post that talked about how he's the youngest member of the Kansas City Corvette Club and how he didn't use any of his daddy's money to buy his Corvette, which is a huge sense of pride for him. Meanwhile, he's saving money for a down payment for a house, and he even started a retirement account. This last bit coming at his request after reading about compounding interest over time in the book The Slight Edge. So financially, he's doing well. He's paying his bills, he's saving money, and the money he is spending is on something that brings him a great deal of joy. Now let's talk about his attitude. After being pretty melancholy while he was in school, Tanner is happier than since before he was a teenager. He has friends at work, friends in the car community, and he smiles and laughs all the time. His hard work brings him a lot of satisfaction, and he's really proud of himself. He has this awesome sense of self-worth that he just never got from school. Third, I have to tell you something that his boss said to me. We were having a conversation about the future of Tanner's career with him, and he told me that he was already assigning him crew chief responsibilities. He was putting this kid in charge of adults that were often 10 years older than him. Really? I asked. Oh yeah, he's just so damn responsible. I can't believe a kid that age is so responsible. That really got to me. That really just, I thought my heart was going to explode right there on the spot. Meanwhile, Tanner has started sending random texts to his sister, mother, and me. Usually it's a passage from a book he's listening to or an episode of The School of Greatness with a note that says, "This is gold, you guys have to listen to this one next." He's reading and listening more than me. I can't even begin to keep up. And I couldn't be prouder. No, he didn't graduate college, but so what? Why should he be defined by that narrow definition of success? A person can be happy without a college degree or a huge bank account. And isn't happiness a better determination of success than station or wealth? He's a hard and responsible worker with a healthy appetite for personal growth and success. He understands money management and the principles that will help him make enough money to support himself and one day a family. His peers and his boss respect him, and he's happier than I've seen him in a long time. Lewis ends his podcasts by asking his guests, "What are your 3 truths?" I've been giving that a lot of thought, and I'm not sure what mine are, but I do know one for sure. Read or listen to positive content every day. It saved my relationships with my family, and it makes me a better person, and now I've seen the impact it has had on my son. And so I challenge you. Get out a Sharpie and write positive content every day on your wrist. Whatever that means for you. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's an audiobook, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's even the School of Greatness. Whatever it is for you, find time to read or listen for at least 20 minutes a day. It made all the difference for me. It's made all the difference for my son. Maybe it'll make all the difference for you too. Let me know what happens when you implement this lesson by sharing with me personally or sharing on social media using the hashtag #EverydayLessonsEveryday. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and family and consider giving it a 5-star review. Let's get the word out there and see if together we can make the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Now go out there and do something awesome.